Sweetness. All right. I am here at the Space Coast Mobile Dojo headquarters with none other than Michael Cragholm. And he's helping us kick off a new series where we meet with people who are making martial arts their business to go out and spread great training, great information to the martial arts world and grow our sphere of influence. So I don't want to do it anything too crazy, too formal. I've got a short list of questions to keep things flowing.
Nice.
But Mike, how are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you, dude. I really appreciate you spending these last few days with me and my family. Joe's been just nothing but an absolute blessing, model guest. And after Shane and Lexi, I was like, oh, that's going to be hard to beat. But I tell you, the jiu-jitsu community is just absolutely tremendous. And so every time I receive people, especially in the Jiu-Jitsu Entrepreneurs Mastermind, that really brings together that community and just kind of solidifies what we're up to, and that's building epic shit.
That's really what it comes down to. Absolutely. And part of what we're doing here is finding ways to link our stories together and get in touch with everybody else in the world. So anyone who knows us, the Odyssey, it's all about our journey. So kind of put together a short list of questions so people can get more familiar with yours.
Love it.
So yeah, with anybody who doesn't know, Mike is out here innovating, training, bringing private lessons to your door. Not only himself, but he's helping other people, purple belt and above, find out how you can monetize your mat time, bringing the world open mats through Grapple app. We'll touch on it all, man. So what first brought you to jiu-jitsu, and where were you in life the first time you stepped on the mat?
First time I stepped on the mat was for jiu-jitsu. It was early, like 2003. I had been training at Marco Huas's in Laguna Niguel, some luta livre. Hadn't put a gi on yet, hadn't considered any jiu-jitsu, but I really enjoyed Muay Thai, which I started because I walked into a Kenpo karate school in Sacramento when I was going to UC Davis. And the instructor, Greg Graham, we called him Grambo because he looked like Rambo. And he was really, this is like 97, so 4 years after the UFC even started. So it's all very brand new, but he understood that there was more to, you can't just be a striker, you can't just be a grappler.
Right.
You got that whole, kind of like the whole Marine concept,
It's wild that like in the late 90s, people would kind of come back full circle of like, oh, I need to be able to fight everywhere.
Yep. And that really was kind of, the introduction was the Battle of Fallujah. I got in some pretty nasty gunfights, and I was very close to pulling my K-bar and stabbing somebody in the neck. But I had a Marine, Corporal Case, popped around the corner, gave him a couple.
Handled business.
Right in the grape. Yeah, these guys they kept injecting lidocaine and a bunch of drugs into their system because they were martyrs and they were just going to die inside the house. So they had like literally in several houses a casualty collection point where when they got shot, they would go back, and it's one of the Muj corpsmen, I guess you would call it, would just jack them up with all sorts of stuff.
Wow.
Yep, and that's why you had to shoot him in the head.
Last ditch stuff, yeah. That's wild. So at what point did you realize that jiu-jitsu wasn't a hobby and it was something you were going to be doing throughout life?
Probably when I knew I was going to, throughout life. That's a tremendous question because there's so many pivotal moments in my career, like being a Marine and traveling so much, PCSing 11 times in 20 years, and getting each belt was at a different location from a different instructor. Whoops. Oy. Sorry about that, brother.
So we all got to spill our drink from time to time.
Right. This is the Space Coast experience. This is what I do. And so...
and it's January. This is about as good as it gets.
Right. This is epic. So I just... Let's see. I guess when it hit me is when that I was going to be teaching for life was... when I was a brown belt at Paulo Gilbo's place, because I filled in for a lot of the black belts there, and I really enjoyed the teaching aspect of it. But it wasn't until I realized that Space Coast Mobile Jiu-Jitsu was born just up the street in my buddy Brandon Smith's house. After we had rolled, I was moving around from dojo to dojo, just trying to kind of get a feel for each one of them. But I didn't want to just be another black belt in a school, right?
Definitely.
Like fighting for my name as a black belt in a local school. And I was local dad asked me, he's a purple belt. He said, "Hey man, can you come show me some stuff so I can maybe combat the black belts and the brown belts at my school?" And I said, "Sure." So I go to his house and we train in his Florida garage for like an hour and a half, super sweaty. I was rolling up my mats and he was grabbing a beer from his Florida fridge, and literally, like, he just looked at me and he said, "Hey man, you might have something here." And I was like, huh. I just shut my Yukon and I looked in the reflection and I just said, "Space Coast Mobile Jiu-Jitsu." And from there, it unraveled. And that's when I knew, driving home, that it was going to be, that it was life-changing, that I was never going to work for anybody ever again.
Very, very interesting. Yeah, the world is like that, right? As everybody's kind of looking for, asking for a sign, so to say, but it's always whispering the way to go all the way around you. So are you listening? You know? So
Yes, sir.
You had that moment of like, okay, it's like a hint, and then just kind of put together on your way home. Very awesome. So that became the journey, and it's been a journey ever since.
Yeah.
Been retired 3 years now.
Correct.
And been doing this well over 2 years.
Correct. It was
Rocking and rolling.
Space Coast Mobile Jiu-Jitsu. Okay, here's the best answer to that question. It was August 14th, and that was the day, and of 2023, and I was signing up on Sunbiz or something like that with Florida, and there was an option to backdate the creation, the establishment of the company, 5 working days. That's August 7th, which is National Purple Heart Day. I literally just remember being like,
everything connects.
correct. I'm a Purple Heart recipient. I received grenade shrapnel in the Battle of Fallujah to this leg, and then in Afghanistan I was shot in this leg by an A&A soldier.
And it's a different story, you know, because I can't articulate it. I didn't have my own personal experiences, but everybody I came up under, you know, was out there, and that's what I tell people. You know, look, I'm not saying you should say this or feel that type of way, but it was real mean bush out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was not a game, you know. And whether people knew what they were doing, what they signed up for, people still got it done.
The Marines are get after it, man.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that if you want something destroyed,
Yeah.
put the Marines.
Open the door to that cage.
Yeah.
Let them out. Yeah. For sure. For sure.
The only issue is that the Marine Corps demands that you be a rabid pit bull Monday from 05 to 16:30 on Friday.
Yeah.
And then they say, okay, now until Monday 05, you're going to be a golden retriever.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Poof.
Yeah, no, that's right. And then late Sunday night, you're wondering why all these pit bulls are getting in trouble. Yeah, no, for sure. So that leads us to another great question: is how has jiu-jitsu served you in life post-service? Because a lot of people, obviously, they run into all kinds of situations. You know, we've got to look out for the vets out there.
I'm here talking to you, a vet, an entrepreneur, a father, and I am inundated with just the highest quality people. The Jiu-Jitsu Entrepreneurs Mastermind was an absolute blessing. Again, just like Space Coast Mobile Jiu-Jitsu and just like Grapple App, the Jiu-Jitsu Entrepreneurs Mastermind just opened up to me, and I was like, I need a place where I have all these people that I'm talking to develop community. There's no entrepreneurial space for one, jiu-jitsu really, and the veteran community. So I just thought, Jiu-Jitsu Entrepreneurs Mastermind. And sure enough, we've got 17 members. we've had close to 40, but I'm very selective. And if people don't
Right.
cut the mustard, they don't get to stick around. It's not about the money. It is a paid mastermind, but that to me was, that was also in time when things I realized, okay. And then when I basically quadrupled my prices, and damn near everybody that I wanted to stick around stuck around.
Yep, for sure.
And I was like, well, go figure,
Exactly. People, we talked about it plenty this weekend, is people understand value.
Right.
And then there's everybody else who's trying to get what they can for nothing.
Agreed.
What would you say the difference between your black belt and your blue belt self is?
I can do an armbar without thinking about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So, for the people who think black belt is the end of the journey, what did they misunderstand?
There is an
about
entirely
jiu-jitsu?
different new world of jiu-jitsu that you are now the white belt in. There's the level between a white belt and a black belt. The chasm between a white belt and a black belt is this might be crazy, but between like myself, a black belt, 3 years, and somebody like, the cream of the crop, Rottweiler Jr., right? Like that's like the GOAT, right? Gi, no gi, and MMA,
Wow.
champ. There's this giant delta, and in between there are so many killers, and that's why what we were talking about last night is the people we surround ourselves with are just awesome humans, and by virtue of us, we're always going to have the 10% at the bottom and the 10% at the top, just like the Marines,
For
right?
sure.
So,
Yeah, no, that's real interesting because I just watched something the other day where this guy was talking about how once you make it to black belt, that's when jiu-jitsu starts. That white through brown is just a trial. And once you achieve black belt, now real jiu-jitsu begins.
Yeah, it
and
was
now
just-
you're trying to refine your game and
it
see who you
opened
are.
up. Also, it's where frauds are exposed.
Yeah, along the way, I mean, it's one of those tropes. Because the oldest one I can remember is that the purple belts don't do warm-ups, and now it's that guys get blue belts and never come back.
Correct. That is correct. That's correct.
We'll see what the next one becomes.
Which
Well,
I look forward to your blue belt. I know
I'm
you're going
aiming
to
for
jump
it.
into some competitions. So what are we going to do? We're going to hold you to that, right?
yeah, 100%.
All right,
Gonna
cool.
hold the standard.
Good.
Like I said, my intention is to go all the way to black belt prior to being 800. So, what responsibility do you think you carry as a black belt?
Spread the message of jiu-jitsu and to be the best ambassador that the sport offers. That's why I really believe in, I got really fit when I had an opportunity to do so. I don't drink alcohol, and I try and be a genuine, decent person. And for me, it's just recognizing that the black belt doesn't come off when you step off the mat. That people will see you out in town.
So, you're essentially a walking personification of what jiu-jitsu is
Our core
to the
values,
lay person.
right?
Somebody who doesn't train or somebody who's thinking about it, it's like, okay, this is the zenith, so to say. This is a black belt. This is how they act.
Absolutely agree with that, and they associate you with martial arts. They associate me with martial arts. If they see me going into the shake joint, just throwing money at
Right,
women,
yeah, no,
then
that
it's
becomes the
not
perception of like, okay,
right, not
that's
the
what
best.
that training's all about. That's
right,
who the crowd is.
What kind of, I mean, nothing wrong with that. But go out and have fun with the boys or something in Vegas. But I definitely just don't feel like, there's a lot of people around here too that want to bump chests from time to time, and you don't know who's got a gun here in Florida.
Yeah.
So, but just knowing that, my bad.
For sure.
But also, the confidence that I have as a black belt is tremendously high.
Yeah, it can help you stay extremely calm in situations like that. That's what I tell a lot of people. Oftentimes, depending on how inflammatory what's being said is, a lot of guys who get fired up and they're getting loud and seems confrontational is more a showing because they don't want the things to escalate into an actual physical problem.
Correct.
And so they're trying to be loud and audacious as a way to make people
Peacocking,
yeah, get away from the situation. Yeah, so that's real interesting. So let's turn into your business aspects, which I have told you since we first met, I think are awesome and are innovating the game. So what problem are you feel like you're solving in jiu-jitsu that traditional gyms haven't been able to?
There is an entire core of men and women that want to learn jiu-jitsu. They just don't want to go get bodied by some 19-year-old in between wrestling seasons, and they can't make it. There's not jiu-jitsu accessible to them.
Yeah.
They have to drive the opposite direction from work to go home to go tussle sweaty men in pajamas, and then while mom or dad, usually mom, has been at home with the kids for going on 16 hours now, and you're like, huh? It doesn't fly.
Which is the biggest thing for so many people is the commute. For whatever reason, a lot of times the
one.
best gym, the one they want to go to, is just out of the way. It doesn't work with the schedule. Yeah, so it changes everything when you can show up right at the door at a time requested.
That's exactly right, and it's a premium service. So I encourage the mobile jiu-jitsu instructors to charge what they're worth. And over time, I was able to really develop a decent price point that most people would be like,
yeah, the value's through the roof because you're getting 75 minutes of one-on-one time. It would take you probably, I would say, bare minimum 6 months of consistent class time to reach the same kind of value you get out of a week worth of private lessons.
I agree. I think some of the stuff that we just from the 2 rolls that we've had in the past 3 days, I'm certain that you're going to be in one. I'll drop them all. Also, my stuff. Well, you recorded everything, but in case we have good angles and stuff like that. But I just know that there is going to be a few things that will change your game. And
yeah, like I told you, even like as we'd stop and kind of talk about it, it was blowing my mind because things were just starting to click.
Yeah.
And like there were spots because in the gym we're rolling full tilt most of the time, and some of the guys are younger, but I'm never with a black belt, so yeah, everything just starts coming together.
I can go full tilt. I just don't want to.
Yeah, well,
what am I going to get out of that as the black belt?
That's also the crazy thing as the student coming up is that you learn the most when you're not trying to survive,
no deathmatch,
or gain victory. Yeah, because you can break things down, and like that chest warm up we did is so epic. Hopefully, a lot of people start doing that because that was just opening things up. If you're not at that black belt level, it's like you need that to understand things.
Yeah. You can do that one fast. You can do it slow. Basically, we're just slapping hands, fist bump, and then it slows things down, and you just grab something, a wrist, you move, and then one person does one move, the other person does another. You do that back and forth, and there's no time limit. So it really just puts the cerebral, the brain into it, and then also gives you a chance to breathe.
Yeah, you get to call your shot without the pressure of getting absolutely annihilated in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great, and this is why Mike is the man, because he is going out and doing mobile jiu-jitsu, but he's not keeping it a secret, right? He wants to help everybody with these kind of capabilities, and that brings us to Grapple App, I think. Amazing software being developed. How does your app, Grapple App, change the way people think about open mats and community?
As mobile jiu-jitsu gains momentum, I realized that there's not an opportunity to grow, but there is an opportunity to scale. And by that, I can use tech. And the problem is that when people travel, they do this whole Google Dick dance where they're all excited about going to a new location, and they go and they like Google Jiu-Jitsu in St. Louis, and then like Nan's Taekwondo Academy. Like, what the heck,
Right.
And so we just cut right through that. One with our main hook. It's a free open mat finder. and it's vetted by a human. We have it broken down by city and state. Is if it's in there, it's accurate. And once they get in, then there's ways for them to do things like buy impact mouth guard. But the coolest aspect is that a purple belt or above can sign up as a mobile jiu-jitsu coach for free. So as people are traveling, if somebody's looking to make an extra $100, $200, $300 a week or a month,
Yeah.
really nothing they have to do, just take a minute to fill out the profile. And then as we build and as we develop, our SEO is going to put those profiles, it's going to end up in the algorithm. So when people are searching jiu-jitsu near me, the intent is for all of the mobile jiu-jitsu coaches grappleapp.io profiles to come up, because they don't have to have the app to access it, because we built it on the internet and then host it, and then we've moved it over. So it's ubiquitous, it's universal, it's
Right.
kind of, we're everywhere,
There you have it, grapplers of skill. Mike has made it as easy as creating a profile on an app to monetize your experience. That is next level.
Thanks, man. I really want to help people get paid and do it without them taking out a $25,000 loan.
For sure.
And having inventory, and it's just too much when you're tied to one location. There's a lot of politics involved.
It's very awesome because, at the startup levels, you're talking about a cash flow business.
Right.
You buy yourself some mats, hopefully you got a vehicle that can ride around with it, a little bit of cleaning equipment, and you show up, lesson, get paid.
And puzzle mats fix the problem of not having
Yeah.
a truck. You got a freaking gremlin, so what? You can buy those little freaking puzzle
for
mats
sure.
and stack them up like
Get
that.
you a tote.
Yep, you're good. That's what my buddy Nick Mansky did in Hawaii. That was kind of the
Great.
seed to everything, as we used to have aloha rolls in Kaneohe and Kailua.
Okay.
And so we would roll on the beach. Everybody would take the mats out and we'd set them up, and we would roll on the beach as the sun came up. And so it was epic, absolutely epic.
Very, very beautiful. Well, it's as good as you could ask for in January here in Florida, so I wouldn't have a time never leaving. But I do have a flight to catch, so we're going to wrap it up. Get out of here. Mike, I got to say, appreciate it 10,000-fold. It's amazing out here, but at the end of the day, Mike Cragholm, everybody, Space Coast Mobile Jiu-Jitsu. If you're out here and you want to start training, this is the man to find. If you're anywhere in the world and you want business advice to combine martial arts or anything you're doing, start your entrepreneurship journey, Michael Cragholm is here for you. Space Coast Mobile Jiu-Jitsu on Instagram. He's got his number plugged on there. And Grapple app. Download it. Get your open mat on there. Create your instructor profile. This man is here to help you. I'm going to plug him all in the description. Mike, thank you again.
Oh,